It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer, and we've come to the end of our kind of Nøgne experiment. We found some old Nøgne bottles that were sent to us in 2020. And I've decided to review them because I was doing a bit of cleaning in the kitchen and I found these bottles. It's now 2023. So I've had these beers probably between 2.5 years and 3 years. And this is a 5.5% ABV IPA. It's called Terje, and it's described as summery, southern, cool, forgiving and refreshing. It's 30 IBU, so it wasn't at the greatest scale of hop bitterness anyway. International bittering units, we'll talk about that in a moment, but we'll get to the beer first and foremost. I've chilled the beer down. You can see though, I've laid the beer down. The beer's been laying down for 3 years in a wine rack. You can see the sediment stuck to the side of the bottle here. So we've reviewed a fruited blonde, which was very good. It was very good for 3 years old. It was a rhubarb blonde beer that just held up. It held up really well. We also reviewed a barrel-aged another fruited beer, but it was higher in the ABV. That was in a 750ml bottle. But I've often talked about IPA, and I've often talked about barley wine, sometimes in the same sentence. So if you hold on to an IPA for 2 or 3 years, exactly like this here, then some would say that it turns into a barley wine. The hops drop off, and then you take more of that kind of barley flavour. But what I've noticed from beers, because I have reviewed older IPAs in the past, is that in this day and age, with the amount of hops that these breweries put in these beers, there's no getting away from the fact that the beer will always be hoppy. So there's the bottle cap. Let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. I mean, look at the smoke on the bottle opening. Look at that. That's a 3-year-old beer. 2.5, 3-year-old beer. It's held up incredibly well already. So what I'm going to do with this, the beer seems quite kind of sedimenty. It seems quite, ooh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe that was a bit of a wild... I'm desperate to swirl the beer around because I'm desperate. There you go. I'm desperate to get that sediment. I don't want a lot of that sediment to be stuck in the bottom of the bottle. That's the last thing I want really, because the brewery will want you to drink all of that lovely flavour. In fact, some of the yeast, wow. I mean, this is not me aging the beer for 2.5 to 3 years. Why there's this amount of yeast in the beer. This is, I mean, this would have happened if I drank the beer fresh. What's in the beer is always going to be in the beer. Look at the amount of sediment in the bottom of this glass. Loads of carbonation. Loads and loads of carbonation. We got a 3 to 4 finger white head. That is one yeasty beer. Wow, look at that. I've reviewed beers. Now for me, the yeast there is still okay. I reviewed a bottle of Thomas Hardy's beer, which was like 27 years old. And the yeast in the bottom of the glass was black. It was completely black. It had completely kind of done its whole thing. It was completely dead. But that looks like this, you know, there might be still a little bit of life in there. It's not black yeast, is it? Like the Thomas Hardy's yeast. If you haven't seen the review, watch the review. Oh my goodness me. Yeah, it's just super hoppy beer that's 2.5 years to 3 years old. There used to be an old thought that if you aged an IPA, like an old school IPA, that it was like 6% ABV, Maybe something from Shepherd Neame or Green King. Then it would definitely become a barley wine. But these new age brewers, these new world brewers, they throw in so many hops at beer these days. You could probably drink a hoppy beer in 10 years' time and still get hops. That is really hoppy. Jam, grapefruit, tartness, plum, fig, passion fruit, mango. Really interesting experiment. Let's dive in. I mean, look at the carbonation. Carbonation's fine too. Look at the head on the beer. Let's dive in. 5.5%. Cheers, everybody. Just incredible. That Stone the Crow's beer. Stone the Crow's beer after 2.5 to 3 years. 3 years. That is, the beer's become one with itself. There's layers of flavour in the beer that may not have been in the beer when it was completely fresh. There's a lot of carbonation springing around the inside of the mouth, releasing more of that flavour. There's hints of pineapple, grapefruit, passion fruit, mango, orange peel, fleshy blood orange. Lots of it, in fact. Not hints of it, lots of it. I might do an old beer series. I'll show you some of the old beers now I got. I'll have to jump off shot for like a split second, but I got beers from 1991 over there. I got beers from 1938 beneath me. I got a bottle of Bernard's Brewery from Edinburgh from like 1930s. It just shows you that, I mean, look at the sediment. Now, again, this is not me adding the sediment to the beer. It's not me aging the beer that's created that sediment in the beer. Absolutely not. That is what the brewer intended. I mean, look at the sediment there. And I think, pardon me, I think that sediment in the beer has really helped the beer in the aging process that it's gone through. Apart from the yeast at the bottom, so if I held it round the bottom there so you didn't really see much of that yeast, if you were looking at that now, you wouldn't think that that was a 2.5 to 3 year old beer, would you? You wouldn't think it. All this kind of like drink fresh. Yeah, of course, drink fresh. Totally understand that. It was my bad that I just laid them down and forgot about them. I was in a year, 2020, lots of beer sent to me, and I had a lot of beer sent to me by Nøgne, and it was just 3 or 4 bottles of beer that completely slipped me, and I was just cleaning the kitchen the other day, and I come across these bottles, and I was like, oh, I better, it might be a good experiment just to go through these beers and just taste them. If they were write-offs, if they were complete write-offs, then I would probably scrap the reviews. But there's 3 or 4 reviews this week posted on our YouTube channel of like aged Nøgne beers. It's tremendous stuff. So I'll just quickly show you some of the bottles that I have. I'll just grab 2 because it's not a fascination, but I've got whenever I go to a lot of boot sales. I go to a lot of antiques places, and I come across old stuff, old beers, and I just buy them. They're like £1 or £2. Why not? I'll grab a few of them. Right, so we got a Gen Lane Beer de Garde. That is... Oh, here we are. 1996 is the sell-by date on that one. 1996. This is called Castillo Cerveza Especial. 5% ABV Spanish beer. Brewed for Marks and Spencer. So it's probably something like San Miguel or something like that. Even back then they were using stabilizers and E-numbers in beer. Best before is round the neck of the bottle. I can't see the best before date, is probably gone now. But these were all bought at a similar age. That's probably a 1990s beer. Cervezas Dorada, 1997. Sell by date on that one. They were like 50p to a pound. And I just picked them up. This is a bottle of White Cap Lager. Now, interestingly, this has got a 1 star on Untapped. A 1 star on Untapped. So I was thinking of reviewing this. Like, what does a 1 star beer taste like? So it's from May, or sell by May 1994. So this was probably made in 1993. So it's probably 20-year-old lager. And it says 70 years of brewing excellence. So they're probably in their 90th year of brewing excellence now, our White Cap. We got a German beer called Licher Pilsner. Again, bought on a boot sale. The 25th of the 5th, 1998. 1998. God, I was an apprentice carpenter back then. Loving life. Absolutely loving life back then. What was I, 18 years of age? 18 years of age. The 12th, 1995. This is Brinkhof's Dortmunder Union 5% ABV beer. Yeah, so, I mean, look at the rusty bottle cap on that one. I mean, yeah, and this beer, I got Worthington's, Dillon's Ale from Brains. I got a Millennium Ale that was meant to be drank in a box. Is it a timber box from 1999? I got a Whitbread Celebration Ale up there that should have been drunk like 20, 30 years ago. It's from the 1980s. Yeah, just buy old stuff, innit? Keep on to it. But I might review White Cap, 20-year-old bottle of 1 star rated beer on Untapped. You know, that might be a fun review. But anyway, so I've got no problem then. I've got no problem whatsoever drinking old beer, and I find it quite fascinating actually to see what happens in the bottle. I reckon there's not many reviews on YouTube where you got these kind of New England IPA style beers and they're reviewed on a YouTube channel, because everybody, you know, there's this whole fascination of drinking fresh. Drink fresh, drink fresh. I'm standing here rolling this beer around in the glass and it look how well behaved it is. Look how well behaved that beer is. Smells good. Tastes good. Drink fresh. So you can go back to our website and buy some more. Rating for this Nøgne O then. It's very good. For its age, it's very, very good. It's a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Please put your comments in the comments. Yeah, I've said all that, haven't I? Subscribe. Boom. Cheers.